Welcome to WagerTalk TV, guys. I'm Kelly Stewart, Kelly in Vegas on Twitter, Ralph Michaels at CalSportsLV, Tony Finn at WagerTalk. Guys, make sure you're following them on Twitter. I know they don't have the blue check marks or anything, but they're still really good follows. Ralph's got an incredible database, and Tony just tweets for Prez, basically. I can always tell when Prez is the one tweeting from his own account. You're always nice, and you get him his little setup so he looks professional, and then he tweets in those, like, one run-on sentence whole blocks. Like, you guys, right now I got this package up at WagerTalk, and it like, keeps going and going and going. I'm like, Prez, you tweet like my 11-year-old niece. It's great stuff. All right, I got to get my licks in when I can. It's like his text. Yeah. You're right, exactly. Okay, so we're doing this fun new thing where you guys get to ask us questions because, you know, right now we're just hanging out. We're waiting for football season to start. We've got some extra time. So this is a question from Johnny D. Diana at Forza Napoli _1. I would love to know what sport is perceived as easiest to handicap and which sport is most difficult. Also, he wants to know about betting regular season versus playoffs. And Johnny, just make sure you guys tweet at Missy WagerTalk, and she's going to give you your free coupon for your question. Ralph, I'm going to start with you. Easiest and hardest sports to handicap and why?
Well, you know, I know Tony, and I know some people say baseball's the easiest because all you have to do is pick the winner. Now,
oh, yeah, sure.
I am going to say, we'll see what Tony says, but I'm going to say, to me, you know, I think NBA is the hardest, number one, because you have elite spoiled athletes that are rarely motivated to play to their potential. College, you don't have that issue. NFL, doesn't seem to be an issue.
Only have 17 games.
You know,
usually, yeah.
Baseball, maybe, I don't know, maybe there's slow periods. But in the NBA, you're trying to handicap motivation as well as the teams. Now, some people have had success. So for me, that's 1A. 1B is baseball. And while I had some success in baseball, it's hard for me personally just because I can't stand watching the sport.
It's terrible.
And I like watching matchups and I like watching situations, and I'll watch the Indians and I'll watch the postseason, but I have a very difficult time watching other baseball games. Dave Koken could sit and watch 10 games all night long. But
you can go to a baseball game with a beer and a hot dog, and it's the best thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely incredible. The difference from watching on TV versus in person. It's almost excruciating to watch on TV for me.
You know, so your worst, and then we'll get to the bests.
First off, a baseball game good with a beer and an edible at home, too.
Don't forget, guys, it's legal here in Nevada. Tony can totally say that.
Yes, I can.
Oh, if it wasn't legal, he couldn't say that?
I'd still say it.
Wait, listen.
Don't say that.
I'd still say it.
I love it.
NBA is the hardest, in my opinion, without question, much to what Ralph outlined. Secondly, is that these guys are, and I don't mean this to be derogatory in any fashion, but these guys are circus freaks. They're athletes they're the best athletes in the world for a 6, and for the most part, 6'6" and above. And
they played maybe 1 year of college, as Ralph mentioned. They are elite athletes, and they do have, you know, they're checking their phones on the, you know, on the bench, and
don't
everybody
go
else.
there.
Yeah, everybody's like,
in a playoff game.
Oh, Kelly, don't you check your phone at work? You're right. I did just answer a phone call in between videos, but I'm not a professional athlete getting paid millions of dollars while my team's getting the bricks beat off of them at home.
We don't have, and you do not get information on these guys. You never know when one's going to sit on one night. And they won't. It's not publicly broadcast.
Game one, everybody said Joel Embiid's not playing. Line keeps dropping. He played.
That's right.
It didn't matter. The Nets won outright anyway. But still.
They also said Griffin was going to play, and he did not play in game one of that series. He's in street clothes. And you can go on and on. You can go on. Motivation's a huge factor. Who's going to show up? What did they do the night before? These guys play 81 games, a grueling 82-game schedule, and it's grueling. They run a 5K almost every night, and are they sore? Did they play more? There's a lot of work involved, and there's a huge amount of speculation that goes into every single game you handicap. I find it very, very difficult. Baseball, there's so many underlying peripherals. There's so much data that's available.
I feel like it's information overload for me from a handicapper perspective.
You're saying baseball because it's your favorite now, right?
No. I'm going to say two. I'm going to
Okay.
say not only baseball being easiest.
It is your easiest.
Easiest, and NFL. NFL being because you have 32, you get a limited amount of teams, and you get a lot of information, and you have a lot of underlying peripheral data that makes it much easier. Much the same in baseball. It's a limited amount of teams. College football, college basketball, they're difficult because
See,
unless
I
you
don't feel like
specialize
that. Okay.
in a league or a conference, it's a lot of teams.
You're
to cover.
correct. In college football and college basketball, I always tell people, focus on what you're good at.
Yeah.
Ralph, what is your easiest sport to handicap?
Well, you just said them. I think there's the most value in college football and college basketball, just because if you put in the work, there's information that others don't know.
Yeah.
There's no hidden information in the NFL, period.
Everybody knows.
Everyone knows everything. The bookmakers know everything. In college basketball, you can find MAC teams that are arresting a player that the bookmakers don't care about. The limits are smaller. They're not taking bets. They're not getting hurt. They're putting up a line. They're getting equal money on both sides, but you can pick spots. College totals, you have such unique teams playing such unique offenses where tempos are so different from 1 to 351 that you can get matchups that you like for college totals especially. So to me, the easiest two are clearly the two colleges, because you have 129 teams and you have 351 teams. And if you put in the work and get the information, there's information that can't be had. So, it has to do, with some databases, looking at situations and getting information. But, if you're numbers oriented, like you said, there's many more numbers in Major League Baseball and the NFL that you can't find in other sports, where I think the other college sports are much more information-driven versus numbers-driven.
All right, great stuff from both guys. Make sure you listen to the Wager Talk podcast each and every Thursday. Just search Wager Talk podcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all major podcast networks.